Hey, Paul,
Hmm.
do you know what I hate about 70s television the most?
I think I know the answer, but the audience doesn't.
Kid actors.
They're the
They're
worst.
the worst.
Who calls me from out of the pit?
But let's see if we can find some shine in the golden lasso of this episode with a kid actor.
Okay. Welcome to the Return to the Sun of the Show. I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And tonight we watched episode 1 of the official season 1 of Wonder Woman from 1976.
Ish. Yes.
Yes.
So, tonight's first episode, the title of it is called Wonder Woman Meets Baroness von Gunther. Quite a mouthful. And it takes place at the beginning. The comic book card says it takes place in 1942. Because again, season 1, like the pilot, takes place during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
This one, a quick synopsis. The Baroness Paula von Gunther, an imprisoned Nazi spy, and her crew are framing Steve Trevor, the war hero, for several incidents of sabotage to make him appear as a traitor in an attempt to lower the Allies' morale. So that's our plot. And Wonder Woman and Trevor begin investigating this plot with the help of the warden's son, Tommy.
Who's not played by Dick Van Patten's son.
No, not or by Oliver Jinks from Brady Bunch, because he would have been far too old by this time. Although, no, I don't know. He didn't he appear in Bionic Woman? The Bionic
Oh
Woman?
yeah, he was.
But he was older. Yeah, he would have been. This kid was
like junior high.
So in this episode, we have the returning stars of almost all the returning stars of the pilot.
Yes.
So of course, we have Wonder Woman Returns. We have Steve return. However, we have a new General Blankenship.
Yes.
So
long. Not Carl Reiner.
Yes, so long. And I would argue a much better General Blankenship in this episode than the wide-eyed. Oh.
Well, if what we discovered it tracks. They would lose him.
Yes, and then so as the Baroness, we have Christine Belford, who is most famous for playing the mother of Ricky in Silver Spoons and guest starring in the 1980 TV movie The Gambler with Kenny Rogers. However, fans of our show may recognize her as one of the prison barge inmates recruited to destroy the gun on Ice Planet Zero from that great Battlestar Galactica episode.
Yes.
So we've seen her before.
Yeah, I'll link it at the end of this episode.
And then we get Christian Jutner, who plays the young son of the warden, who's a detective fan, prolific child actor in probably the 70s and mostly the 70s.
If you're our age, you've seen him in so many things. Yeah. You mix him up with all the other child actors at the time.
Yeah, and he was also he's a returning person from the Bionic Woman. He was in 4 episodes of the Bionic Woman. And so lots of Bionic Woman connections here today. Paul, what did you think of Wonder Woman meets Baroness von Gunther?
I loved the plot. The delivery was ridiculous. I loved I loved the way the prisoners got in and out of the prison.
Yes.
I hated the fact that the little kid is the one that discovered it. I don't understand why we had to have little kids and everything. Because we just, even as little kids, we just wanted them to get out of the way so we could get to the actual heroes of the story.
But what's strange is, and maybe it's because a book you can put yourself in the book more easily than you can the TV show. So as a little kid, I loved the Hardy Boys and the books and and then Alfred Hitchcock's The Three Detectives, and that was three kids, and Encyclopedia Brown, and so all these kid detectives I loved in books, but for some reason I couldn't stand child actors. So even as a kid, but I think that's the effort they were going here for, because in the 70s there were so many kid detective books and kid
but what
detectives.
there weren't was kid detective TV shows.
No, they're
even,
correct.
Even
correct.
Hardy Boys and
Yes.
Nancy Drew were like old enough to drive.
Correct. So interestingly enough, the plot itself, although I don't know about the kid part of it, this episode is based on the comic book story Wonder Woman versus the Prison Spy Ring, originally published in Wonder Woman #1 of summer of 1942.
It might be in this,
written by William Moulton Marston,
or Charles Moulton, as he's known as in the show.
Yes. So this was based on an actual comic book, which led me to wonder as we're watching it. So, I mean, the kid part was bad, but it wasn't all of the comedy and the Batman-esque stuff that I suddenly discovered in the pilot I was looking forward to were completely absent in this episode. There was not one ridiculous Batman-esque
No, not really.
to it. It was a very serious plot. And so I agree that I like the idea. I thought the Baroness was played really well. I thought she was very powerful and intelligent and clever, and then she's running this ring from prison. I think it's a little ridiculous that, discrediting one war hero would ruin the Allies' efforts. I think that's kind of silly.
That puts a lot of weight on Steve.
Yeah, that's what I asked Steve. I mean, I could see if you discredit Captain America, but he's no Captain America. But yeah, I like the key idea, although as someone who works in corrections, number one, no kid would be allowed to walk around the prison grounds. Number two, nobody would be allowed to have a giant metal heavy key like necklace around their neck.
See, that's kind of where the plot derailed for me, because why did she when she's in prison and I almost said Steve Rogers, when Steve Trevor and Yeoman Prince show up to talk to her, the pendant is like, she's got it tucked away. Why did she get it out and put it on?
Yeah, it made no sense.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And it would be one thing if it was like a locket that had like a secret thing.
Correct.
But it looks like a key.
Yes.
Well,
it looks like, if you've ever worked in corrections, every old style lot that we still use keys. It looks like a prison key. And so, it was ridiculous. There's no way she'd be allowed. She said it's a family heirloom that the prison allowed her to have. Well, that doesn't track. Yeah, that doesn't track.
And you can't even write that off as, well, it was a different time back then. No, it was worse back for inmates back then.
Yeah, they
especially at a military prison.
Yes, because it's a federal military prison. Yeah.
Also, they probably would have just shot the Nazis after they caught them.
I would think so.
Unless they were scientists.
Correct.
And then we would basically say, "Oh, you guys are fine."
Yeah. You're not Nazi. You were Nazi-esque.
Yeah, Nazi adjacent.
Yes, adjacent. Yes. So I mean, I'm all for secret doors and that kind of stuff. That was cool. The sliding door was neat. But yeah, there was just so many discrepancies in this episode. First of all, Steve, I can't tell what branch of the military he is. He looks like he has an Air Force jacket on in one part of the episode. Then he's in, when they need him to be in Army fatigues, he's in Army fatigues. Then they call Diana Prince a yeoman, which is a naval term. And correct me, maybe I'm not a military expert, so maybe there are yeomen. Yeah, in the Air Force.
Let us know down below how.
At least they weren't in the Space Force.
Like where the Were the women secretaries in like a military operation? Like, were they Navy or Air? What?
Well, and they did. He is, and you said something about maybe it's their headquarters does have all the branches of the military. So I'm wondering if maybe it is a mix. I don't know.
It could be.
Yeah. So
just like he's a mix. See, he's such a hero.
Right.
He's been through numerous armed forces.
Yeah, he won. That's why he's got so many medals on his chest.
Looks like Idi Amin.
Yeah, he got bored. He got bored in the army, so then they made him Air Force, and they made him but it's a shame. I do like the Baroness a lot she's the leader. She's smart. She tricks Wonder Woman. She tricks the kid for sure. She tricks Steve. Tricks the warden. So I thought that was pretty clever. But just I don't know. I mean, just again, you're right. It's the fact that it's the kid that really foils the whole thing is really disappointing.
Yeah.
And they could have had. I mean, it would have undercut the kidnapping part at the end where all three get the kid, Wonder Woman and Steve get kidnapped and stuff. But, I mean, they could have had Diana Prince doing the investigating. I mean, she could have, discovered it, but didn't want to, she kept, didn't stop it right then and there because she's trying to figure out the greater plot. They could have easily made her, every scene with the kid could have been her. What's interesting, though, is the writer of it is Margaret Arman, who is, man, she wrote a lot. So she wrote for everything, Westerns, detective shows, Star Trek. She wrote 3 episodes of Star Trek. Not sure which 3. Star Trek the Animated Series, Land of the Lost, she wrote 2 episodes for $6 Million Man. So, I mean, Bionic Woman. So she's got quite a resume, but I maybe in adapting the comic book, it's the comic book tropes that in a comic book you don't care what the real prison rules are. Our 1942 comic.
Yeah,
they didn't care. That's my guess.
That's probably what happened. Like whatever talents she has. Were hampered by the fact that they had to adhere to a golden age comic book, which, as much as I love them and I dearly do, they're arguably just bad for the most part.
I was shocked. I was caught off guard. Well, they had this Mr. Deal guy who was a businessman who was
he was a steel
magnate hired by the government to run a government organization. What government would ever do that?
Nowadays, ours.
I was thrown off by the fact that he was a Nazi too. So, because when she met with Thor, who's what I think she called him, her associate, you had no idea he was also Mr. Deal, the person investigating Steve. But which made sense because at the time when he says, "I want to meet with Steve," I'm like, the prosecutor of an investigator of a crime would not be meeting secret with the star witness who he's prosecuting at his home. But he's a Nazi, so I guess it makes sense. He's trying to trick him.
Yeah.
So that made sense. I was caught off guard that he was a Nazi.
But he did have the really cool Red Skull house coat.
He did, yes. That was cool. His outfit was
I loved his house coat. I loved Baroness von Gunther's little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool.
And her black, almost, she reminded me of the Iron Man comic with where Black Widow's first introduced.
Yeah.
So she's got the Black Widow look to her as well. So they almost, I mean, in some ways, she and then her henchman, who's kind of the James Bond, blonde, blue-eyed strongman who's who's a guard. At the prison. So they were very super villain-esque. I kind of like they set that up. So I did like that part as well. I think what's weird is, so I did some more research after last week's kerfuffle with the Batman connection. But apparently Ralph Ross had nothing else to do with Wonder Woman except for the pilot.
You know what he did? He put out this pilot and he just goes, "You're welcome," and walked out the door.
Yeah.
And left them going, "What do we do?"
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Go find some comics.
Right. Well, I think what happened is I read up on him. So he was first. They wanted to hire him for the Kathy Lee Crosby, and he said absolutely not because it was too much unlike his Wonder Woman. So they hired him. He set the tone for the World War II aspects of it, threw in the Batman stuff because he was the Batman writer, and then apparently when they started the series, it's all new people running it. But yes, I think they're going to go for a much more serious tone. So I'm glad. I mean, like I said, I was glad last week that we were going to get a new Batman show, but oh well, we're not.
Yeah.
But so we're at least we're going to get something akin to Bionic Man, Bionic Woman, things like that. So I'm happy about that. Another interesting thing is I did some research on this. So the director Barry Crane, who directed this, it seems like he's one of the main directors of the series. Just a little side note, and maybe I'm the only one interested in this.
He's a former Nazi?
No. He is, at the time of his life, he was the top bridge player of all time, and he was murdered.
Well,
yeah, in the 80s. So he was
apparently
murdered.
he was not the best bridge player.
No. And so apparently that's the first time that the automated fingerprint identification system used by police was able to find his killer.
7 sound.
Few other discrepancies. I think the worst part in the episode, and we both laughed out loud, was the vehicle crash. So the whole
oh my god, yes.
Yeah. So the Jeep or whatever
it was a big like
the military military vehicle. Steve, it crashes because the axle was loosened by the Nazis. And then Steve tries to rescue the guy and the truck, even though
it costs money, and the military needs the money.
I understand, but they also blew up a whole cliff face and sent it down, raining down on the truck. So I don't really understand what the purpose of their army exercise was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he goes to save it. The thing just like accelerates quickly, is the wrong vehicle, explodes, and goes flipping over a bunch of times. It was terrible.
Now, if this would have been the Batman guy, in keeping with what I said about the pilot episode, is they could have taken footage from like the old movie serials. There's always that one car that goes careening off and then crash, and just have it in black and white.
Yeah,
and they have nobody even acknowledge it.
So what they can't decide clearly at this point what is Wonder Woman's skill set, because she can pick up a vehicle, but she has to roll down the hill with the Baroness to stop her. And then the Baroness lands in a pool.
You're ruining it for my dad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I do have an answer for that, though. So I think the reason that they end up fighting near a pool, I roll towards it.
Oh, yeah.
Is because Douglas C. Kramer is the producer who eventually went on to make Dynasty, which had that famous fight scene in the pool between Alexis and Carrington's wife.
Yeah, it was Linda. I almost said Hamilton.
Yeah, it's not. It's
from Big Valley.
Yeah.
And Joan Collins.
Joan Collins as Alexis. Yes. It seemed like if Steve can knock out a Nazi, why can't Wonder Woman have just sent the Baroness clear across the yard? I don't.
Because the director is a true patriot, much like Steve Trevor.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But and then we do get one thing from the pilot they did keep, is Wonder Woman's ability to imitate anyone's voice.
Yeah.
Which must be one of her superpowers, I guess.
I don't know if it's true in the comic. I was not the biggest Wonder Woman fan until the 80s with the Lin Wein and George Perez.
Right.
I couldn't really tell you too much about Wonder Woman.
No. I'm trying to figure out what aspect of Paradise Island culture would train Amazons to imitate people. I couldn't come up with anything.
Maybe a future episode will should return to the island, and they'll be training little girls to make voices I don't know. It's whatever's needed for the plot, man. Don't think too hard.
I know.
Yeah,
it's silly.
I mean, I ripped on this episode pretty good at the beginning, but I didn't hate it. It was, it's just for me. It's an odd let's just get the ball rolling episode.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like they didn't. They just got a bunch of writers, wrote a bunch of scripts, and just started to get them out there because it got picked up.
And I think it's just another example of 70s action TV. Well, I mean, this feels like a episode of Bionic Woman. It feels like the couple off episodes of Battlestar Galactica, and so I just kind of, I think that
the trapping is with these kind of shows and the pre-prestige TV era.
Correct.
Is almost, especially in the 70s, almost every TV show started out as a movie of the week.
Yeah.
That gets picked up. They have to scramble to put something together. Correct. That's why it takes half the season for the stories to really kind of shape.
Correct.
So they're just throwing anything at the wall to get it out the door while they're perfecting their formula.
I feel the same way I did about the pilot, is that although the kid is ridiculous and a couple things that happened in the plot were ridiculous, Steve was way more serious.
Yeah.
And the man gets lured into a trap by the Nazis. So did Wonder Woman. He gets hit on the head by a very hefty wrench.
Yeah.
And so and he's trying to investigate things. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
And then of course Wonder Woman isn't either.
Yeah. Because she's.
And the Baroness isn't stupid. The Baroness is not a flunky villain.
The Baroness is a great foil for Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So I think we've got the seeds of some good stuff coming.
I just love that, like towards the end when Wonder Woman and Steve and Tommy are all tied up and she's chained up.
Yeah.
After and the Baroness does the whole spiel about how nigh on invulnerable, unbreakable these chains are. And the Nazis are like blah 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 telling their story, and they're like, get rid of them, and Wonder Woman's just like breaks them. It's like,
great.
I just wanted to get that information out.
Yeah, I thought that was clever too. That was cool. Yeah, so I think there's lots and lots of good things coming. So I'm overall happy. I'm glad we have they're feeling their way. We've moved beyond the pilot, and so we'll get some good stuff coming up, I hope.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. We're gonna do this for a while until
let us know what you think.
We either love it or hate it. Let us know what you thought of Wonder Woman. If you remember this episode or anything about it, just let us know down below. Is that it? We good?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, just like at the beginning, I'm Paul.
I'm Mark.
And this has been The Return of the Son of the Show.